Like, I want something that we're going to be proud of when we look back 5, 10, 20 years from now at what we've accomplished. And, you know, even now to drive through a neighborhood and say, oh, we built that fence, and be able to be proud of it and not, you know, have to take a separate street so that they don't see our name on a fence we built, you know.
And I think that's why our name is in the company, because we're going to be proud of the product that we're offering. We pretty much grew up on the water.
Living on a boat, Dad building a house.
I think Zach fell off the boat one time.
Just once?
What I remember is the sound of the cables on the sailboat mast clanking against the mast.
I actually used to work on the lookout sailboat for a summer. That was fun.
Growing up, it seemed like we just had not as much to worry about, but there was something fun to do. We were always outside.
I remember going fishing. I think it was just you and I one day. We went out with Dad to that dock.
Playing t-ball down at Freedom Park.
We'd go jump on the bikes and we'd be gone all day.
Not get home till dark.
Well, so when we moved over into the house was far from done.
The house was designed and built with the walls all prefabbed before the lot was even cleared, maybe. Dad was an outside the box thinker.
Definitely, yeah. I've never seen anybody even attempt something like that. But if you remember it, that's how we got started. That was our introduction to Carpentry 101.
Carpentry, then plumbing, electrical, sheetrock.
That summer when we prefabbed everything, we had never done anything like that before. As soon as that house was done, we started on the next one.
The more you know as you get older and maybe understand like how things are traditionally done, the less willing you are to do things in such a different way. And so like to look back at that and it's like I would never think now that that's a good idea or that like I would want to do that, but back then it was because we didn't know any better. It was like, okay, this is a great idea, let's get it done.
The way that Dad was always outside of the box, you know, just the way we built the house, the way he wanted to build an octagon, and everything he did was against the grain, doing something a little bit different. And that's really why, you know, when we built Husek Brothers Fencing, we didn't just try to become another fencing company, just like everyone. You know, we looked at what can we do different, what can we do better, you know, how can we make a better experience for our customers.
That's where it all started.
And Zach and I had been talking about doing something for years. We weren't sure what. Wanted to finally make that step into doing something for ourselves, and where I didn't know at the time how much work it was going to be, which is good because it might have scared me away from doing it. But I'm definitely glad that we did, and I think we're starting to see those long nights and long weeks really pay off.
Most companies just care about the dollar. And at the end of the day, they don't care about the customer, and that was something that we really thought we could change. Make sure they're taken care of the whole way through the process.
We're not looking at customers as just customers. They're our family, they're our neighbors, they're our friends, they're the people that we're bowling with on the weekends. They're the people that we're going to church with on Sunday. We care about the product that we're providing for them.
We tried to be creative and think more about like what the end result and the experience is, and kind of like a new path to the goal rather than just saying, okay, this is how it's done and this is how we should do it.
I know a couple times we've changed our suppliers because we were looking for a higher quality product along the way. And maybe not everybody does that, but we want to do that.
We put all that we could into this project, just like it was for ourselves or for a family member.
If you're just copying and trying to do something the same way that everyone else is doing it, you can't be any better.
Exactly.
You gotta kind of do it your own way.
Yeah.
And it's a growth process. You're learning constantly along the way, and you're always growing. We're never reaching a level and saying, oh, we've made it.
You learn some things, there's a reason that we did them that way.
And other things, our outside the box way is working a lot better.
I'm proud that we're putting Dad's name on that. To sit there and just say, hey, let's put his name on some cheap fences, it's not something we could be proud of.
He instilled those qualities in us, and now we're just turning it around and offering it back to the community. We are setting a higher standard, and that's for across the board, customer service, quality of our products, and the timeline of construction.
We want to make that statement that we take ownership of what we do and we take pride in what we do.
We're not in it to just be the cheapest person, and that's something to be proud of.
Exciting to see, where we're at this point, and kind of what's ahead of us. We're bringing that into something that we never would have done if it wasn't for the things that he taught us along the way.
And we can be proud to have the name on it.